Hi there, amazing friends. It's Kute here, sending you love around the world right now. Today I want to just do a short video about how to deal with betrayal. Being betrayed, whether it's romantically, in a relationship, in a marriage, in a partnership, in a business, by a friend, is never a pleasant experience. No one wants to be betrayed. If you've been betrayed, you know how painful it can be to give your trust to someone, how painful it can be to invest your heart into a relationship and to truly be vulnerable and to give yourself and belief and to believe in what you agreed, in the agreement, in the dream, in the vision, in the partnership, in the relationship, in the individual, and to have them betray you. It's painful. It's devastating. In fact, I believe it's heartbreaking, especially if the bond with you and that person is so close. Maybe they took money from you. Maybe they talked behind your back. Maybe they betrayed your trust. Maybe your partner cheated on you with someone else in the relationship that wasn't part of the agreement that you had, and they hid it and they had an affair. Whatever it was, it's painful. It's painful, and it's easy to let that experience that happened impact the rest of your life. It's easy to let that experience that happened shut you down. It's so easy and on some level understandable why you might want to close your heart, shut down, disconnect, and say, that's it, I am not going to be open again. I'm not going to be vulnerable again. I'm not going to let anyone again hurt me in my life. That's it, no more. It's easy to go through life with a closed heart. To me, that's the easy thing to do because that's the expected thing to do. That's the understandable thing to do. It's the, on some level, yes, we can understand why you might do that. It's easy to want to close your heart. It's easy to be mad. It's easy to hold on to being right and saying you wrong me. It's easy to go into the victim position. It's easy to say, you know what, I'm going to protect myself, not open my heart again, not trust anyone again because of what happened. That's the easy path. It's an acceptable and understandable path. You've been hurt. I believe it takes great courage, my friends, to keep an open heart. Because even though you might have every right to not be open, to close your heart, in closing your heart, you miss out. Yes, you might protect yourself from getting hurt again, but you miss out on the ability to allow yourself to receive love. But you also miss out on your ability to give love, and in doing so, in not giving the fullness of your heart to the world, we all miss out on the deeper dimension of your gifts as you might try and protect yourself from being betrayed. It's risky loving. It's risky loving. Because there is no guarantee that you give your heart, that you give yourself, that you give your love, and it will be returned. That you give your heart, that you give yourself, and you give all that you have, and something won't happen. Trust won't be betrayed. It is risky. This is life. But I believe it takes real courage to open your heart and love. It takes real courage to open your heart and forgive. So if you've been betrayed, my friends, I think one of the first things to do is to acknowledge your pain. To acknowledge the pain that's in your heart. To not suppress it, to not deny it, to not pretend it's not there, to not spiritually bypass it, meditate over it, yoga over it, pretend you don't have it and say, oh, everything's fine, Om Shanti. No, there's pain. And as a human being, in a human body, to allow yourself to not wallow, but to honor that pain that's present in your heart, because your heart might be broken from what occurred. Your heart might be experiencing some heartbreak, even though it can never be broken. It might be experiencing some real pain as a result of feeling betrayed. So as a human being, it's important to honor all of you and honor that part of you that's hurting, honor that part of you that is experiencing the pain, and to be willing to honor that, to embrace that, and to bring love and compassion to that human part of yourself, to that human part of your heart that's feeling the hurt and the pain, to give it voice, to give it expression, to allow it space to experience and release itself, because I believe that every feeling that is fully felt can complete itself. And when you don't give your pain that expression, then it remains shut down inside of you, and as a result it becomes very hard to then move forward, move beyond that feeling of being betrayed and truly open, because there's hurt there. Honor the hurt that's present. Feel the hurt that's present. And once you do that, as you do that, you can communicate to that person. If someone has hurt you, if someone has done something genuinely, if maybe they cheated, maybe they did something that was not a part of the agreement and you're carrying hurt about that, I'm going to propose that carrying hurt about that is giving that person power. Carrying hurt about that is not worth your own sanity and happiness. So then if there's something you can do, my friends, to communicate with that person, to express how you feel, to have an authentic sharing, so that you can maybe get complete, so there can be some completion, and perhaps the other person can hear you and listen and maybe even acknowledge and apologize. That's great. It's not always possible because they may not be around. It's not always possible because you might be dealing with someone that is just not sane in the brain, or you might be dealing with someone that's just not willing to have that depth of authentic communication because they're too busy thinking that they are right. But if you can dare to have that authentic communication and the other person's willing, then you're blessed. Then you can communicate, and chances are you can take your relationship to a whole deeper and different level, and deepen the depth of intimacy in the communication with that person. The next thing I'd invite you to do is to have the willingness, my friends, even though you've been betrayed, to take responsibility for your part in the dynamic. To take responsibility for your part in the dynamic, because when you've been betrayed, it's easy to point the finger at the other person and say, they did it to me. And you might be right. Maybe they did it. They did it to me. She did it. He did it. They did it. And all that does is keep you in a very disempowered space, keep you in the victim position, disempowers you in the moment, when in fact you are quite powerful. And what I mean by taking responsibility doesn't condone what they did, doesn't make it okay. But it's a choice to say, you know what happened happened. What's my part in it? I believe that every single experience is there to help us grow. Every single experience in your life is designed for your evolution, and you attract to you experiences based on the lessons you need to learn and where you are at in your own consciousness at that time. So you're always attracting to yourself a mirror of yourself. Do you like what you see? So part of taking responsibility is, rather than blaming that person and blaming what's out there, to look inside and ask yourself, was there anything inside of myself that this person, this situation of betrayal is mirroring to me about myself? Now that's not a question in that moment you might want to ask. It takes a lot of courage to face yourself. It takes a lot of courage to be on the conscious path. It's a lot easier to be unconscious and just say, it's the world's fault. It's that person's fault. Well, they did it. But all you do is disempower and keep yourself stuck. So in that moment, ask yourself, is there anything that person who did that thing is mirroring to me about myself? Maybe I treat myself in a certain way. Maybe you've been betraying yourself and didn't even realize it. You might say, well, I don't do what they did. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I don't do what they did. I don't do that. Maybe you don't do that outwardly, but perhaps you've been cheating within yourself. Perhaps you've not been honoring your own feelings. Perhaps you've been saying yes when you mean no. Perhaps you've been betraying your own truth in order to get love. Perhaps, so where have you been cheating on yourself? Where have you been betraying yourself? Where have you not fully been in integrity with yourself, honoring yourself completely? I believe that the greatest betrayal starts here. You know, what's so interesting is many times I've had a transformational coaching, facilitation, career and business for many years now. I've been working one-on-one with people from all walks of life for about 14 years, 15 years. And so often, even in my one-on-one intensive work, couples or an individual will come to me and they say, Kute, I'm so hurt because my partner did something, they cheated, they did something, and I'm so hurt. Or they've been having this affair, I'm so hurt, and I'm so just, And if they're often really willing to acknowledge, they knew many of the clients I worked with, and not that this is always the case, but many of the clients I worked with, when they were really willing to get real with themselves, acknowledged to me at some point, I knew going into the relationship that this wasn't going to work. I knew, had an intuition going into the relationship that I couldn't trust them. There was something inside of me that didn't trust them from the very beginning. That doesn't condone what they did, by the way, let me make that clear. But they said to me, I knew that something felt a little off. Something felt a little off. And then when I'd ask them, why did you go ahead? Why did you continue with the relationship? They would say, well, usually, my friends, there is a part of you that knows. If you're truly willing to honor your heart, honor your intuition, honor that part of you that knows, do not compromise your knowing, do not compromise your intuition. And when you feel that something is feeling off, honor it. The slightest, subtlest intuition, sensing, inkling is the way your soul is speaking to you. And when you betray that, you betray yourself. You just set yourself up to be betrayed. In relationship, when you betray your essence, you set yourself up to be betrayed, and it is not worth it. Because when you honor your truth, when you honor what you feel, when you honor that subtlest intuition, you become powerful, and you can no longer say in life, in business, in relationship, I didn't know. The reality, my friends, is you are more powerful than you might give yourself credit for. And if you look at your life in those times you felt betrayed, if you look at your life in those situations you might have felt wronged and betrayed, if you're really honest, 80%, 70%, 50%, however many percent of the time, chances are, if you're really honest, some part of you knew something was off. That something, that sense, is your soul's force. That something that, in a sense, is your inner guidance. I invite you to trust that. Trust yourself, not your small self. Trust your true self like never before, and set yourself free. Step into your power. Honor yourself, because the real self-betrayal isn't out there, but all the ways that you betray yourself, all the ways that we betray ourselves each and every day. Turn left, turn right, go here, don't go there. We question, oh, I'm crazy. But honor it. Because that's where the real self-betrayal is. Amazing friends, real freedom. You can't control what's out there, but real freedom is to honor who you are. Real freedom is to honor that voice inside. Real freedom is to honor your intuition. And as you do that, you will set yourself free. You will bring yourself into the flow of life. And you will attract people into your life as a result that are able to meet you at that same level of self-honoring, self-loving, self-respect, and true integrity. But it starts with you. So if you don't like what's been happening, if you don't like who you've been attracting, change yourself. Life is a mirror. Change yourself. And as you do, life will meet you in the exact degree you take responsibility and change. Sending you love wherever you are. If you've enjoyed this blog, share it with everyone in your lives. Enjoy the video, enjoy the written piece. Great to connect here, and love now.